Wasteland Weaponistics, Episode 40, the Browning Automatic Rifle, or as the military called it, the Rifle Caliber 30 Automatic Browning, M1918. But I'm sure many of you know it as just the BAR. The BAR was first introduced in the Fallout series with Fallout Tactics, and a variant of the weapon later appeared in the Fallout New Vegas DLC Dead Money. The origin of the BAR comes from the hell of World War I, and the US military wanting machine guns, as it was severely lacking in them, only really having access to M1909 Benet Merci and some Maxim guns. But they turned to the man, the myth, the legend, who really knew how to make guns. Really good guns. Guns so good that they would still be used for over 100 years. John Moses Browning. John Moses Browning had designed dozens of different firearms by the time of World War I, including a machine gun that the US military had previously adopted. The Colt Browning M1895, more commonly known as the Potato Digger. While the US didn't bring the Potato Digger into World War I, the Canadians did. So, the US military wanted more advanced machine guns, newer, more advanced guns. So Browning got to work designing several of them. He designed what would become the M1917 water-cooled machine gun, as well as the M1918 BAR. And, as well, the gun that would become the M1919. All of these chambered in the best caliber ever made, .30-06. The original M1918 Bar was a rather strange gun, as in its World War I guise, it doesn't really fit into our modern criteria of weapons. You see, the Bar was specifically made to be used in a now obsolete tactic called walking or marching fire. In walking fire, you walk forward, hip-firing the bar. They even had special equipment for you to do this. What you would do is every step you take, you're supposed to fire one round from the bar, while looking at the enemy's position. While you're doing this, your riflemen are meant to be taking well-aimed shots while you're giving them covering fire. This was sometimes done in conjunction with creeping artillery barrages, where your artillery would fire in front of you as you moved forward. So, in a sense, it was a large sweeping effect of combined arms. This tactic was not really used that much after World War I, but it does show up every now and then. Like during the Vietnam War, this tactic was used by the United States, and here's a demonstration of it using more modern weapons.
The M14s on full automatic fire from the hip in short bursts, covering the squad front.
Now, after World War I, the Bar went through many changes and branched off into a family of weapons. Some really good, the others not so much. But in terms of US military service, the Bar was changed into the M1918A1 and then into the M1918A2. You see, the government was attempting to change the Bar into something it really wasn't, an LMG. Now, the Bar is a very interesting operating system, as it's gas operated with a kind of tilting or dropping bolt. It locks into the top of the receiver, and that's why the Bar has that bump in its design. Now, this type of locking system has been used in several different firearms, but it's not as popular as a rotating bolt. However, like I said, this design has managed to survive even into the modern day with guns like the M240. Actually, the M240 is basically an upside-down, belt-fed BAR. With that history lesson out of the way, let's go to the Fallout lore. In Fallout Tactics, where it first appeared, we see that it's the M1918A2 variant. The description reads, the Browning automatic rifle is used as a support weapon and for pinning enemy soldiers with the high power of the .30-06 rifle rounds. Developed in the early 20th century. Now, the Bar in Fallout Tactics is much more of an Easter egg rather than a staple weapon. You only find a single Bar in a dead civilian actually very late in the game. It's in a location known as the Great Bend. And that's pretty much it for the Bar in Fallout Tactics. It's really just kind of an Easter egg weapon. So we move on to Fallout New Vegas, and here the weapon is known as just the automatic rifle. The New Vegas version is quite interesting, as it's not really a Bar at all. It sort of resembles a Bar, but there are several things that are wrong. The most notable thing is that the charging handle is on the wrong side. The Bar actually has a very modern style of left side charging, non-reciprocating charging handle that most modern firearms from the 1990s onward have. But the New Vegas variant of the gun has it on the right side. Why? I have no idea. I mean, it seems to have the slot for the charging handle modeled on the left side, but then for some reason they moved it to the right, above where the bolt would be. Or like, I don't think it would actually work in that spot. As we see, Bethesda isn't the only one who puts charging handles on the wrong side. Obsidian is guilty of it as well. Another strange thing about this design is the buttstock, with the fact it has an almost modern style of pistol grip. It uses the black buttstock of the late war variant M1918 A2. These were made out of plastic, not a type of plastic we use today. It was made by mixing Bakelite and a material known as Resonox, and then reinforced with actually shredded fabric. Now, unlike the World War II bar, the New Vegas version has a pistol grip. There were bars with pistol grips like the Colt Monitor and the FN Model D, but they're not like the one featured in New Vegas. The one that the weapon in New Vegas has is almost shaped like a modern AR or AK style pistol grip, but seemingly made out of the old style of plastic. The automatic rifle in Fallout New Vegas is also chambered in .308 instead of .30-06. And that's not that big of a deal, as there was an experimental .308 caliber bar used during the M14 trials, as well as several semi-automatic builds of bars have been chambered in .308. So what's the lore explanation for this weapon? Well, my guess, and feel free to leave your own down in the comment section, is that this gun is a facsimile rifle. It's not an actual bar, but a weapon made to look like a bar. We do have these in real life, and there are 3 categories that you can categorize these in. First, you have the reproductions. These are, let's say, 90% faithful to a design that is not made anymore because the original company either went bankrupt or has moved on to a new design. The Italian companies like Pieta and Uberti are the best examples for making reproductions. They make reproductions of 1800 style firearms. These reproductions are mostly accurate to their Old West counterparts, except they're made to handle newer smokeless powder rounds. See, then we have the clone. The clone is a gun that is a near copy of a current production gun. In this day and age, the Glock clone has become extremely prevalent. Lastly, we have the facsimile, or the lookalike. These are guns that only vaguely look like the original gun they're trying to copy. Usually they end up looking wrong, because they're basically cheap copies. I think the best example of this is actually a gun known as the Nightfire Scout. I mean, it looks like someone saw a picture of an MP5 once and tried recreating it from memory. Now, for why a gun like this would be in the Sierra Madre, just like with the police pistol, these weapons were most likely made for Mr. Sinclair as a stylized weapon for his Sierra Madre police to go with the Art Deco themed casino and villa, made to look like something out of the 1920s. And the bar was very much used in the 1920s by police. Even the FBI adopted the Colt Monitor. And sadly, much like the police pistol, the automatic rifle is trapped inside the Sierra Madre, so there are no post-war factions using this weapon. There are also no uniques of this weapon. The only thing left to talk about is that the bar is technically in Fallout 4. There is a soldier holding a bar on the mural of the Museum of Freedom, either during World War II or Korea. There's a helicopter in the background in that sort of section, so it might be a fictional post-World War II war of the Fallout universe. The Fallout 4 combat rifle is also semi-based on the bar, but it's mixed with several other firearms that it's not really a true bar. There are so many things different about it, but the magazine is the main thing that you can get from the BAR and the combat rifle. And that'll be all for this episode. If you enjoyed it, think about subscribing to this channel. There's also my other channel, Trooper Fofo, where I mainly do Let's Plays and some other gaming-related things. Alright, see everybody later. Bye.